even in my shows, I weave in my concerns for my community, man. I weave in my concerns for my brothers and sisters that have perished unnecessarily so. And a lot of them, a lot of times, at the hands of those that we pay to serve and protect. So I asked my man Hank, wheelchair Hank, for all you people out there that be bashing me because I said something about somebody handicapped, this man ain't got no legs and be everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see this nigga.
And they ain't got no elevator here at the club.
So he don't have no leg, but he damn sure ain't immobile, because this son of a bitch be everywhere.
Be grinning, too.
Don't be sitting around feeling sorry for himself.
Grinning every time you see him.
And who's in worse shape? Hank with no legs or Bo with no brain?
Oh, Lord.
Well, at least I know how to use the elevator.
So I asked Hank, Mike, Detective Echoes to come in and share what happened with regards to the lives lost, the young brother lost, and there's a debate about what actually occurred. So I want them to tell their story, and then we'll go from there. And this is DisRace, and what the show is based on, man, it's a civilian approach to complicated events, detective, from a civilian point of view. Ain't nobody in here no genius. Sister JJ, she got more sense than any of them. I'm probably second.
I'm the smartest.
See what I'm saying? What I mean?
Right.
Anybody ain't got no sense.
Yeah.
But it's a legitimate, it's a serious issue. And I asked Hank to come on. So Hank.
Yes, sir.
Tell us the story.
All right. July the 3rd.
Get a little closer to the mic. Roll yourself up.
July the 3rd.
What's wrong with y'all, man?
Yeah. You got wheels. You got wheels.
What's wrong with that? Y'all silly, man.
No, like, yeah. This ain't.
July the 3rd, 2022. It was I believe it was Sunday morning. I got a knock at the door. And my little niece went to the door and she was like, hey, come to the door. The police out here. It's something with Jabril. And Jabril is my son. And I go to the door. It's Union City Police. Detective Davis, and his name is Danso or something like that. He another detective. And she let him talk. And he like, well, apparently your son was having some mental issues and turned the gun on himself and he didn't make it. I say, huh? And he was like, no, he didn't make it. I said, my son ain't never had no mental issues. Well, apparently he had them. And by the time everything was through, I went to Union City Police Department to find out what was going on. And when I got there, I talked with Detective Ashley Davis and Captain Brooks. And when I first walked up, the first thing they said, well, we ain't gonna jump to no conclusion because we never know what'll happen in a suicide. I said, man, my son ain't committed no suicide. And they go on and say, well, we just gotta wait to see what the ME say. I said, well, what are y'all gonna do? I say, because this is one thing that I am familiar with. If you live in Atlanta, Georgia, and you ain't never been around nobody that got killed or seen to get killed, then you're very lucky. But for somebody to come and tell you your son got mental issues, he's 30 years old, never ever had a mental issue, never ever been depressed, never ever had it, don't even take medicine, but one day just wake up and kill himself, that is crazy. And what Union City Police did, they just went into the house, believed everything that the people in the house said, wrapped his body up, told me, you can't see him. He's at the coroner's. We identified him by his ID. We'll let you know what the ME say. And that was crazy. So my daughter, she was like, well, it's a guy that I be seeing at the store, Mr. Mike, and same thing happened with his son. And so me and Mike, we finally met, and Mike was telling me about Detective Eric Elkels. So I reached out to Detective Eric Elkels and gave him the information that I had Because when I talked to Union City Police, the first thing that really got my attention was when I met with Union City Police, Detective Ashley Davis got pissed off when I said, well, I'm gonna file the Freedom of Information Act. Makes no difference what you say. I want all the information that y'all got. She got pissed off. They can't do that. They can't do that. And Captain Brooks, she said, can they do that? Captain Brooks said, yeah, they are entitled to that information once the case is closed. Well, it's over the investigation. And for a whole year, that's all we heard. That was it. And so I got Detective Eric Eccles involved, and he can tell you what's going on from that point.
But we got Mike here. Mike, a bass player. He a bad boy.
Yeah, he
too,
bad
boy.
on that bass.
You play at my club downtown. And he pick that
I
bass.
went there.
He's supposed to teach me how to play bass. And he was talking all that shit. And I went and bought all these expensive basses. And nigga never showed up, man. So I've been
Nobody
trying
wants you to
teach
take their
myself.
job. Nobody wants you to take their
Ain't
job.
no way. There ain't no way you can take a job, though. He can
bad
pick
on that
that
bass.
thing. But Big Mike, but I understand you had a son, a similar situation with the same police department.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, exactly similar. And really what got me was when I met him, he told me the way his happened. I'm like, well, this is more than a coincidence. You know, it's something going on here really, really bad. My son didn't have any mental issues. He was in college. He's working at a good job, Land Rover Jaguar, driving those $150,000 cars and, you know, just living life. And he wasn't on drugs, anything. And my wife, we didn't have the luxury for somebody to come and knock me out there from the police department. There's a little girl called her about 11 o'clock that night screaming, somebody, is it true? Is it true? Is Austin really dead? My wife, well, what do you mean? I saw on social media, they said Long Live Steno, that was his nickname. His real name is Austin Mitchell, Long Live Steno. So she started screaming, she waked me up on a Sunday, just like his, March the 3rd, 2019. So I go around there and I see all the yellow tape, flashing lights and the whole nine. The police wouldn't let me go. I tried to go down there, but they wouldn't let me go. And I said, well, tell me this. She said, I can't let you go, sir. I said, well, is he a light-skinned young man? She told me, well, I'm supposed to tell you anything, sir. She said, well, yeah, he is. I knew it was him because I felt it. You know, it was in my stomach. I just gut instinct. But anyway, moving forward, they shoot him in the back of the head and tell the police that he killed himself. Now, thank God I have my brother Eric right here, Eric Eccles, private investigator. He found out some things, man, that was mind-boggling and mind-blowing as well. It kind of bothers me to talk about it, but my wife ended up having a stroke behind this man because Union City wouldn't do what they need to do in D.C. You know Kim very well. The one used to buy a drink here and margaritas at the club. Kim, you hadn't seen this in years,
man,
but-
this ain't no P. Diddy thing. I don't know about nothing. I ain't seen nobody drink nothing. I ain't seen nobody smoke nothing in my
What
club.
put in it? What
I ain't
was put
seen
in
no
it?
baby
None of that.
oil. I ain't seen nothing.
I didn't say
None of
you see
that.
baby oil, DC. I just,
None of it.
You testify
None of
about
the sex
what you
toys
saw.
and
Don't
that.
tell the people what I saw.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
testify about what you saw.
Don't worry about the
well,
sex
let me
toys.
finish saying this then. Moving forward, it's good to have some humor. I mean, really it is, because it's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah, I know.
But thank God for everything and everybody here, and you as well, DC, for having us on here. I really want to thank you for that. But it's a lot going on with this case, and it don't take a scientist to figure it out.
Yeah.
I like for Eric to share some things concerning Henry case as well as mine, if you do us the honor, Eric.
This is detective, private investigator. Private investigator, Eric Eccles, and I appreciate him just having the personal interest, man, to come on and discuss this case. And I'm interested in hearing what he has to say about it. I got some questions now.
Yeah.
I got some questions.
I got
DC?
some answers.
For Mike and not for you.
Oh,
I got some questions for Mike and him, but I'm sure I'm gonna have some for you too. I got some questions about the situation. You know, if you want to start thinking about it, like why did the police come to your son's house in the first place?
Right.
Did he have a history? Did he have a criminal record? Did he have a problem with drugs? I lost my daughter in 2022, but she had a drug problem. So I ain't had nobody to blame, really. You know what I mean? Now, I could have went about after, I thought about going after the boy that sold her the drug, but really can't blame him. My daughter had a problem. I had put her in rehab, and, you know, I mean, it takes a toll on everybody. I mean, just her dying. I put her in rehab, and when I got there to put it in, they didn't tell me, man. It was $27,000 up front. So when I was checking her into the rehab place, I said, well, how much to get her off half of the shit?
Right.
See, DC,
What?
why are you, why? Just,
Right.
did y'all see what he just did?
Well, he showed how he
You see
relates.
what he just did?
No,
I'm telling you.
He show you how you
He
can
said
relate.
$27,000.
But I can relate.
Yeah.
I can relate to the grief.
Whether it was
which is not a-
$2,700, he said he can relate to the grief.
I can relate to the grief and how it takes a toll, man. It takes a toll on it, bro. It was in 2022, January 16th, and I still ain't right. Some people would say I wasn't right before that, but whatever.
Well, I didn't
And
mean
you
to
know,
say
you
that.
ask questions,
Public.
you know, why her and not somebody else? Why her and not my ex?
See,
Yeah.
see,
But
there we go.
anyway, it's a sad
Insurance
fact.
and justice, all
But I
of you.
think it speaks volumes that the private investigator showed up. Where I originally thought, Hank, you were just gonna be telling your story, and then I would ask you some questions. But this guy's looking into it. And man, I appreciate having you. And you got the mic.
Well, let me start off by saying this. When
Talking your mic.
you have, what's that? You good?
Your mic.
Is his mic on? Is it
Do I
up,
need,
right?
I need to roll my chair up.
Pull it up.
Is it good? Make it a little hotter.
Good.
Make it a little hotter, man.
So when you have cases where the police department has said it was suicide,
Yeah.
and the only person who is saying it is suicide is the person who was there,
Yeah.
then what should happen is the police should let the evidence dictate to you that it's suicide. And when I'm talking evidence, I'm not just talking the eyewitness account, because this person is there. This person could have something to do with it. I'm talking about the physical evidence. I'm talking about forensics. I'm talking about everything that you should be looking at to determine if it's homicide or suicide.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
You sure can.
Tell us about your qualifications and how you became a private
So
or public investigator.
my qualifications go way back. I was in retail investigations. I was director of loss prevention. I was vice president of loss prevention. I did a lot of investigations on theft and fraud. And then I got involved in private investigations with me and my wife. We started our own company back in 2005. I'm a former United States Marine. Then I started working on these type of cases, which you call premise liability and security negligence, when people get shot and killed at apartment complexes and clubs and things of that nature. So the case, Rashard Brooks, I worked that case.
Oh, man.
The case George Floyd, Chris Stewart is one of our clients. I did a little work on that.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't mention Anthony Hill, the naked veteran in DeKalb
Anthony
County.
Hill.
There you
Yeah,
go.
bruh.
That was my case.
Yeah.
So the experience that I have is working these prior cases to know what to look for and what to do when the police are not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And in these two particular cases, when you're dealing with Mr. Postal's case, I start every case the same. He mentioned the Freedom Act, you know, open records. I get everything from the police department. I want to see the crime scene photos. I want to see who you interviewed. I want the interview statements. I want the interviews that you did on video. I want it all. And then I look at that. I want the body cam footage from the police officers as soon as they arrived on scene. And I'm looking at all of this information to determine what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
And when you look at Austin Mitchell, there's a lot of things that didn't stand out, that was not right. One,
That's your son, Mike.
that's his son. A call comes in that the lady heard gunshots. The police go to the scene, everybody in the apartment is gone. 45 minutes pass, now they come back. They didn't call the police before they left. They didn't call 911 when they left. They didn't call anybody. They left, came back, left again, came back, and then that's when the police showed up. Then we find out that these boys went home, changed clothes, took showers, right? Then they come back and say, we all touched the gun. Who the hell touches the gun on a homicide?
Took the gun with him.
Not only did they touch the gun, all of them, they took the gun with them.
And brought it back.
And brought it back. I'm telling you, there was things that didn't make sense. I tracked down the first responding officer who arrived on scene. He quit the police force. He went to New Jersey. I tracked him down. He specifically said he told the detective this was a homicide. The detective shot him down. He said, well, and I'm asking, why would you say that? He said, well, their behavior. They didn't show no emotional, they wasn't distressed about it. They were, they looked like they all took showers, they all looked like they changed their clothes, and he was saying all these things, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, well, why is this suicide? Because the people in the house said it was. Now, here's the thing. The gunshot wound was in the back of his head in the downward angle. He was sitting on the end of a couch. So it's like somebody stood up next to him in the downward angle and pulled the trigger.
Yeah, I seen enough unsolved mysteries to know that. That's a
Yeah,
no-brainer, man.
it's a
If you sit on
no-brainer.
a low couch, it's hard to get your arm up that high.
Why would
My
you
brother,
anyway?
now he said you didn't have no brains, but you're right.
I do. No,
You got something,
no,
right?
he said that.
There you
That don't
go.
mean that.
Don't mean it, right?
That don't mean it. I went to school in Mississippi.
So when you see all this stuff,
Yeah.
and you see that the police is not doing it, and then now you get another case with the same detectives in the same police department, right, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Then you got to say, okay, what's wrong with just the police department?
Yeah.
Are they looking at black on black crime and say, oh, it's just another brother, we ain't going to investigate?
I believe that's the
And I
mindset a
think
lot
that's
of
the
times.
mindset.
They call it a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
When it comes to black people, it's
There
a
it
cookie
is.
cutter.
Oh, they
I
gonna
believe
do
that's
it
the
to
mindset.
themselves.
Now, I do not want to imply that I think all police.
Not all.
But it's more than one of them.
Yeah,
Right.
It's several.
right.
You know.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Now, with your qualification, how many other people have to have a qualification to be on the police department? And why does this keep happening to black people when everybody knows what you know, the evidence don't show? So is it the courts or is it the police?
No, it's
Because
the
the police are doing it, but the courts are allowing it to happen because they're not prosecuting the
And
people
this
like
show
they're
is
supposed
called DisRace, not because we racist or anything.
Right.
It's just a black man's perspective from where I stand as a black man in America. And with that said, I'll say this. When's the last time I just rattled off, I don't know, 25, 30 black murders by the police? I know about 57, I think. But after a while it gets redundant. But I was talking to some people in the club the other day, and a white woman hollered out, "What about the white ones?" And I said, you exactly right. I said, now name one.
She couldn't do it.
And she could not name.
And let me tell you something,
She
brother.
could not name.
Let me tell you something, brother. Them other 27, they are relevant. So don't ever think
they are
we
relevant.
we're
But I
not
don't want to be
patient to it.
redundant, man.
We're not-
We be here all night.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, without thinking, I can rattle off 50-something brothers that have been killed by the police. He had a mobile phone. We thought it was a gun. He had it, but I cannot name anybody white. The white girl that was killed in New York, rest in peace, Caitlin Gillis. It's sad, but that was a civilian. She pulled up in the wrong yard. But unarmed white folk that have been killed by the police, I cannot think of one, man. And I have looked for them, and I can't find them. Now, you got a lot of black policemen, but ain't it funny that no black policeman accidentally kill unarmed white people? So while I'm not saying everything is race, or I'm not race baiting, it's a fact, man.
Yeah.
It's a fact
Yeah.
that black folk are the general suspects,
Yeah.
even when the evidence does not suggest that.
It's safe to go off quicker when they see us.
So my question will be, because I'm hearing that you're not saying that the police officers are the ones who may
No,
have.
what
okay.
I'm saying is the
And this-
police officers are malfeasant in their duties.
Okay.
Negligent, man.
More
When
than
it comes to
negligent.
black,
Yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they didn't work the crime scene. I'm saying they just took the word of the individuals. When they came to the scene on Mike's son's case, they took them all to the police station and put them all in the same room. I got the videotape of them writing their statements,
man,
and they
come
all in
on.
there writing their statements together, texting each other, looking at
But
each other.
what I'm saying to you, my brother, if you
Something's
know
not
this,
right with that.
don't the DA supposed to be smarter than you?
Okay,
Don't-
so I'm glad you mentioned the
You know what I'm saying?
But
Now-
before you get to that, the higher ups, you say one man was in the room with Gabrielle. The higher ups, they should have said that there needs to be further investigated. If it was only one other man in the room,
Yes.
and you ain't gonna look at him.
And that was on his case. But see,
Yeah.
what sticks out most about his case, if you know about blood splatter and blood drippings, and I had to learn this. If a man is 6 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
And they said he shot himself in the head,
Yeah.
the blood splatter should be where? At least at 6 feet. The blood splatter on the door was down by about 1 foot down on the door.
Which means the angle.
The angle was,
It wasn't even angled. It was listen.
uh-oh.
No, we're gonna.
No, no.
I'm gonna show you.
Okay.
Here's the crime scene photo on his son. You see where the blood splatter is at the bottom of the door? His son is 6 feet tall. So why is the blood splatter down here at the bottom? Now, when I questioned this to the DA, to the detectives, I said, well, wait a minute now. Let's just put some common sense to this. If he's 6 feet tall, the blood splatter should be 6 feet.
Right.
Okay? I said, but when you look at his
If he
crime
was
scene,
standing up.
well, he was. We got a video
Yeah.
of the other person in the room said, hey, he was standing in the corner, and I got on my knees and prayed to him and told him to put the gun down, then he pulled the trigger. Well, why isn't the blood splatter up here at the top of the door?
Right.
Why the blood splatter? You can look at the drippings and see it's down by the base of the
Man
door.
on his knee.
And this puddle right here, that's the
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the photos, and I'm saying, well, wait a minute, look like he been in a fight. Because it was bruising and swelling around his eyes. You know what the ME told me?
Yeah.
Well, that could have been from the gunshot. I said, well, you saying it could have been.
Right.
It also could have been he got into a fight before. But if you take that situation and put it with the crime scene photos on the blood splatter and the blood drippings, right? He was on his knees and bent down.
DC.
Yeah.
And
Sound
he
like
was
those
shot by that
execution
wall,
style action.
but there was no bullet in the wall, no bullet ever found.
No bullet find.
Yeah,
And he's supposed to be in the corner by 2 walls.
by 2 walls.
But the bullet came out his head. But it's not a bullet there.
So what I'm saying is these police officers, they're not working the crime scene. And when you don't properly work the crime scene and you just take the word of someone who was there, especially
Your
someone
buddy.
who leaves the scene.
Your buddy.
There's a group of guys left the scene, came back 45 minutes on his.
Clean evidence.
We got video of the person saying testimony, hey, he was standing up. Well, he couldn't have been standing up, so you're lying. So where's the follow through with the police? Where's the next step? You talked about the higher ups. Where are the higher ups looking at this?
Right.
So then you go back and you say, well, wait a minute, these are 2 black on black crimes.
In DC.
The officers were black.
Yes.
DC.
Yeah.
The guy told me that my son was shot at 1 o'clock
In the morning or in the afternoon?
in the morning, a.m.
Yeah.
They didn't call the police to 509.
509.
Hold on. And the police showed up at 5:13. 4 minutes respond. Fastest police department in the world.
But the police was there when he shot it.
My son, he told me my son was shot at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
But they didn't call the police till 5:09 in the morning.
How would he know that your son was shot at 1?
Because he the one that was in there with him.
He was in there with him.
And my son had a black eye, knots all on his head,
Yeah.
fingers bruised, nose swole up, lip
Yeah.
swole up.
It's sad.
He
Now,
fought for his life.
it's sad.
Hold on.
sound like-
And he shot on the right side
It's-
of the head right here.
Yeah.
And he left-handed. And
It's,
I told
it's sad either way. But when we come back, I got a couple questions, man. I'm not playing devil's advocate or nothing like that. I told you this show is a civilian's approach from where I sit in America as a black man. And I just got a couple of questions. I don't care who answers them. The officers.
The police said he was a midget. That's why he was shooting up. But them son of bitches a lie.
You know, I mean, I got just some general questions. You know, do you have any mental issues, many problems, drugs, anything? We'll be back. You listen to DisRace.